haven't met each other, nice to meet you. My name is Adityan and welcome to my YouTube channel. So in my last video, I said that I'm going to start a YouTube channel and I'm going to be consistent with it. But I've been unable to focus on making a really good YouTube video because of one thing. And the thing is this apartment. Basically, I bought an interesting investment kind of apartment here in Berlin. And it's been an insane amount of work. And because of this, I've been unable to make any YouTube videos. But then I thought, hey, instead of complaining about it, I'll just make a YouTube video about the apartment and what I'm going through right now, why I bought this apartment, and also some funny looking time lapses about the renovation work that I did. And the reason that I mentioned that is because this is not going to be one of those well thought out research piece videos like I want my YouTube channel to be. Rather, this video is going to be an off the cuff, informal investment advice slash life update slash interesting tidbit kind of video. If you're interested in something like that, I recommend sticking along. If not, thanks for dropping by. I hope to see you in another one of my upcoming videos. If you have decided to stick along, thank you very much. So this is how the rest of the video is going to look like. First, I'm going to talk about why I think this apartment is really interesting. And the next thing that I'm going to talk about is why I decided to do a real estate investment at this point in my life. And then finally, we'll talk about what next. Just a quick disclaimer before I jump into the main content of the video. This video is definitely not about me trying to show off, hey, look, I bought an apartment. But the main reason that I'm doing this video is twofold. The first reason that I'm making this video is to share my thinking behind this investment decision. I kind of struggled piecing together information, especially things like, is this the right investment decision at this point in my life? Is real estate the right way to go? And things like this. I hope in sharing my thinking is that it might help you if you're in a similar kind of addition point. Second reason for making this video is to show that this thing is possible. I mean, being alone in a city, away from my closest friends and family, and dealing with this bureaucracy in a language that I quite don't understand. And there was the renovation, renovating the place all on my own for the past month and a half. All these things were hard. They were really, really hard. I won't sugarcoat it. But things are coming to an end. We are at the tail end of things. I believe, after all, if I'm able to pull it off, I think people that are watching this video, they should be able to pull it off too. So that is something that I hope to convey by this video. Again, this video is not to show off. Actually, I'm doing this video after another day of hard renovation at the apartment. And I'm making this all up as they come along, talking to the camera. I just hope some people find this useful and it adds value to the world. Okay, with that long introduction behind, let's actually jump into the meat of the matter. First of all, why this apartment is interesting. Actually, the apartment is located in one of the interesting neighborhoods of Berlin. It is actually one of the cheaper parts of Berlin. And the apartment also faces one of the busiest streets in Berlin. That was one of the reasons why the apartment was cheap. But there's another bigger reason why the apartment was cheap. Because the apartment was really, really run down. By rundown, I mean the apartment was not really livable. I don't have a lot of pictures, but you should get an idea. So there were kind of stains everywhere, kind of water infections. The floorboard across the rooms were broken, wooden pieces here and there, food particles, leftover food particles, and then there was, I don't know, weird spray marks all across the walls, and things like this. As you can see, as a place to live, it's probably not the best one. But if you look behind the surface, it's actually a good investment decision. And the rest of the video is going to focus on this specific point, why this is a good investment decision. I'm going to start from a broader perspective, why real estate in general was a good investment decision for me at this point in my time. And then next, I'm going to focus on why this specific apartment is interesting and a good investment decision. And my hope in sharing this thinking is that you kind of take away certain information that might be helpful in your own journey. And the first reason is leverage. This equally applies to all apartments, not only this one. There are multiple ways to understand leverage, and maybe one day I'll do a video about it. But today I'm tired after the renovation, so I'll just give you an example to understand what leverage is. So for this, I'm going to quickly jump to my whiteboard that is there. So I'm back and I have some examples for you to highlight the power of leverage. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to compare two investment strategies. One, the traditional stock-based index fund, and the other one is real estate investment. Let's say I have 50,000 euros in hand and I want to invest it. And I want to see how it turns out after 15 years. This 15,000 euros, you put that in an index fund and you put that in real estate. So this is what it's going to look like. The index fund is going to compound interest and it's going to end up looking like 210,000 euros after 15 years. Whereas for real estate, it's going to look like 130,000 euros at the end of 15 years. But you could do something in real estate that you cannot do in the traditional index-based stock funds. You could use leverage. So what do I mean by that? So you could use somebody else's money to accelerate your investment. So in this case, it would be your bank. Now let's take the same example as before, but now let's use the power of leverage. Let's say your bank is willing to lend you 200,000 euros on the top of 50,000 euros that you're willing to invest in. Let's say they are giving the 200,000 euros at 1% interest rate. So the 200,000 euros is your leverage, and that 1% is the leverage penalty that you pay. So as you can see, the numbers are totally different now, right? Even with the 200,000 euro debt, you're way better off doing the real estate one because you use the power of leverage. So if you're planning to use leverage, here's what I would do. There are 4 things that I would think about. So number 1, think about what can you leverage in your life. In my case, it was the fact that I stayed in Germany for quite some time. I had a permanent residency here. I had a job that didn't pay much, but it was a decent income. It was an unlimited contract, my job. Then I had built up enough assets, and then I also had a good credit score. So all of this shows to the bank that, hey, this is somebody that you can trust and lend money. And I used that fact to get the money from them and leverage my investment. The second thing that you want to think about leverage is how much do you want to leverage? The previous example that we saw, it was 50,000 for 200,000. So that was about 80% leverage on 250,000. How much do you have to leverage depends upon your own personal situations. You need to run your own numbers. The third thing that you need to think about when using leverage is how much is the leverage penalty that you're going to pay. In real estate, in case of debt, that is the interest rate that you're going to pay. In our example, it was 1%. This 1% is going to bring down your real rate of return. You need to think whether the penalty makes sense for you in your own personal investment scenario. The fourth and the most important thing is that just because there is leverage, it doesn't mean you need to go that route. What you need to do is compare the leverage investment with all the things that I just said against an unleveraged investment. And then check if the return on the leverage investment over long term is better than the unleveraged one. If it is, go for it. If not, skip it. In my case, for my own scenario and my own modest little numbers, I created my own spreadsheet and I crunched the numbers, and it just made sense, and that was the reason why I went for this. So enough about leverage. Now let's move on to the second reason why I think real estate could be interesting. This is called sweat equity, my boon and bane for the past 2 months. So what does sweat equity actually mean? If you're early in your investment trajectory, you probably don't have a lot of money, but what you would rather have is your 2 hands, time, and hopefully a lot of energy. If you're willing to spread it out, you could do some really interesting things in the real estate world. For example, you could buy a really rundown apartment like this and do a lot of fixes on your own and do a lot of DIY, and that'll increase the value of the property. As I showed you at the start of the video, this one was really run down. I mean, the boards were broken, the plumbing needed fixing, I needed to pull down electrical wires to get some lighting thing done. There was water damage, the balcony needed doing weird spray paintings and things like this. Anyway, I saw the potential in this and I decided to take up this sweat equity route, and then I went ahead with it. For the past 6 weeks, after coming back from work and the weekends, this is more or less all I've been doing. Fortunately, things are coming to an end right now, but it was hard. These 6 weeks were really hard. Mainly because all of this was just new to me. Like, how do you fix a toilet sink? How do you fix like the toilet flush? And how do you pull down electrical wires? How do you cut wood? Is this the right drill bit to use? Measuring stuff, multiple trips to the store and back. And sometimes you'd miss things and then you had to go back. Added on top of this fact was that I'm still new to the city and my closest friends live very far away from me. And so I had to kind of figure this out on my own. There were definitely days, this coupled with work and the other stuff that was going on, I was just too overwhelmed. I was just praying what was moving through me, please keep moving through me and just help me get this to the completion. The reason that I mention all this is not to kind of scare you away, but although it might seem overwhelming at the beginning or overwhelming at the time you're doing it, don't discount the sweat equity option. Especially if you're early in your investment trajectory and you need a kickstart, I think this is a very good way. After all, if somebody like me is able to pull the sweat equity option off, most likely the people that are watching this video should be able to do too. Takeaway messages: keep the sweat equity option in your mind. It is doable and it'll give you really interesting opportunities to work with. So now the last and final reason why I decided to do a real estate investment at this stage in my life. I'll keep this short. The reason is diversification. Up until now, most of my investment portfolio has been heavily skewed towards stocks and index funds. I'll link my blog if you're interested. You can read more about it. So I just want to diversify away so my entire investment portfolio is kind of resilient. So it's not heavily skewed or dependent upon one kind of asset. So I just wanted it to hold different baskets of assets. So that was one of the reasons why I also decided I wanted to do a real estate investment at this point in my life. So that's it. That's one major thing that has been going on in my life for the past few weeks and months. As promised, just a quick snapshot of the final status of the apartment. It's nothing fancy. At least it feels like a home now to me. So that's good. To wrap things up, I know this was a live update kind of a video and not what I originally had in mind to post this week. Nevertheless, I hope some people found this video useful. You could let me know in the comment section if this video kind of resonated with you. Was it useful? Or would you like to see something else altogether? The reason I specifically asked for your help is that I'm in my 30s now and I'm deliberately deciding what to do. And I remember in my diary, the first thing that I wrote down was getting this real estate project done. And now that it is done, I can start focusing on the other projects that I wrote down. And one of the bigger projects was this YouTube channel. I really want to add value to the world via this YouTube channel. And if you have any ideas on how best I could do that, please let me know in the comment section. That would be hugely helpful. And also feedback on whether this video was useful. It didn't resonate with you. That would also be a useful comment. Obviously, a like and a subscribe also helps. It motivates me to come and make these videos after work, after a hard day of renovation like today. If you managed to stick along so long in the video so far, first of all, thank you very much. Thanks for watching. So I hope to see you again in another one of my upcoming videos. Until then, have a nice day. Adios from Adi. Bye.